You know, my daughters understand that I love them, and I would do no physical harm to them. But the thing is just the fact that to have that mentioned to me, that sometimes they're afraid of me, it really cut deep. It really touched me. It hurt.
That is NFL great Tony Dorsett. He is in the headlines because of what he's saying about his health. He's been diagnosed with the early signs of chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE. It's a progressive degenerative disease caused by multiple concussions or head injuries. This condition normally can't be determined until after a player has died, but now a UCLA study has tested 9 NFL players, and all of them have tested positive with signs of CTE. That is just one of the headlines, putting America's favorite pastime in a not-so-favorable light right now. Joining us, someone who knows all about the hard hits, former NFL running back for the Atlanta Falcons, Jamal Anderson. Thanks for being here. All right.
Pleasure, Jeff.
So you hear Tony Dorsett. I mean, one of my heroes growing up.
Right.
So what runs through your mind when you hear him talking about his condition?
Well, it's sad, and one of my heroes, too. You know, you can't, Jeff, you cannot have played the position I played, the running back position, and not adored Tony Dorsett for the way that he played the game, what he brought to the table, physically the way he played, his explosiveness, and, in fact, the championships with the Cowboys, a fantastic career. So it makes you nervous. It does make you nervous, and we are now understanding more and more the risks associated with playing football and some of the consequences if you do play the game that so many people love. But I think it's also important to note that there are been so many changes now, Jeff, to make football safer. The things that they're doing now with respect to the concussions. And I don't want people to get me twisted. Football is a dangerous sport. It is a collision sport. Those are facts, okay? But I think that what the NFL is doing now and what we can continue to do is try to make the game as safe as we possibly can.
Tony Dorsett, a Heisman Trophy winner, Hall of Famer. Let's listen more to him as he talks about who he has to blame for his condition.
The owners knew this for years, and they looked the other way, and they kept putting us players out in harm's way. That in itself right there really was hard for me to understand why one human being would do that to another human being.
More and more players are speaking up when it comes to their safety, in particular concussions. Just this week, a Denver Broncos player quit because he didn't want to risk his health anymore. All right, what do you hear from guys in the league now? Are they thinking more about this? Are they more concerned about their health?
Well, I think everybody is, but again, they've implemented new measures in the NFL that have really helped. First of all, there was a stigma, particularly when you're talking about guys in the 70s, with Tony Dorsett's era in the 80s, in the 90s. A lot of football players didn't want to disclose, and now didn't want to disclose when you have a concussion. In fact, myself, playing the game, it wasn't something that you wanted to bring up to your coaches. You always wanted to be a part of the game. You didn't want to affect your team by not being on the football field. It's not like that anymore. That stigma's not attached to it. Guys are understanding the seriousness of it. But the NFL being as popular as it is, and in fact, the plus side, the rewards of making it to the top of the game, you know, you have to measure this thing. I think that we can try to make football, again, as safe as we possibly can. But you look at the risk and the reward, and you have to make a decision. But the thing for me, Jeff, that would be so important, I'd like to see the things that we're implementing in the NFL trickle down faster. Talking about youth sports, high school sports, college sports, and a lot of these procedures are starting to happen, but I'd like to see very similar measures, if not the same measures, that happen in the NFL happen all the way down so we can make it, again, football as safe as we possibly can for the kids coming up. So maybe the risk is less. But, you know, you look at 9 players in a new study, it's tough. It's tough. And you know, am I going to be one of those guys, you know?
Yeah, and you talked about kids, your son, playing football. You've let him play football. What do you worry about the injuries he could get from
it? You know, I'm a coach, and I think it's important. And I think it's important to – I was talking about this a couple of weeks ago on here. Make sure you know who's coaching your kids. Make sure that there are procedures in place in the event that anything should happen on a football field. You know, parents take this immense responsibility when it comes to their kids' education, some of the other things that they want to do. Make sure you do the same thing when it comes to football.
Coming up after the break, another big story making headlines for the NFL. Richie Incognito speaking about the accusations of hazing and harassment by another teammate and why he says he's no bully.